Hello. There's a common phrase used in English. Ignorance is bliss, meaning that if you don't know something, the knowledge that you don't have can't hurt you. So, for example, take something like air pollution. If you know that the air quality in many cities is dangerously bad, you might start to worry about it. And that worry might make you ill. Anxiety is bad for your cardiovascular health. So in that sense, being ignorant about a problem may be better for your overall well-being. That example is fairly clear. Some people, though, make it their business to keep you in the dark, to keep you ignorant. Their goal is to spread ignorance and create confusion around the facts and evidence about a subject. Now, this subject, originally studied by Robert Proctor, a science historian from Stanford University, is called agnotology. It comes from two words. The first, agnosis, which is the neoclassical Greek word for ignorance or not knowing, and the second word is ontology, which is a branch of metaphysics which deals with the nature of being. Proctor was interested in the companies that make cigarettes. In the late 1970s, a secret document from the tobacco industry was made public. Part of the document looked at how to market cigarettes to the mass public at a time when the health concerns around smoking were becoming very clear. The document said, and I quote, "Doubt is our product, since it is the best means of competing with the body of fact that exists in the mind of the general public. It is also the means of establishing a controversy." End quote. To explain, in order to continue making and selling cigarette products to the people who were becoming very aware of the health problems that smoking can cause, the cigarette companies wanted to create confusion around the research about the negative effects of smoking, to make the smokers think that the research might not be right, that smoking isn't actually so bad for your health. You see, many of the studies linking tobacco to cancer were initially conducted in mice, and the tobacco industry responded by saying that studies into mice did not mean that people were necessarily at risk because mice are different to people. This muddying of the waters, or confusion around the effects of tobacco, was made into a film set in the mid-1990s with Al Pacino and Russell Crowe called The Insider. A great film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Anyway, Proctor, the science historian, says, quote, "I was exploring how powerful industries could promote ignorance to sell their wares. Ignorance is power, and agnotology is about the deliberate creation of ignorance." End quote. A more recent example of this is climate change. Even those of us who do not have the specialist knowledge can feel that the weather is changing, and there is compelling evidence that climate change is a real threat to the world. Despite this compelling evidence, there are still people, and many of those are respected scientists, for example, Freeman Dyson and Bjorn Lomborg, both respected academics, both are sceptical about the effects of climate change. The sorts of debates and discussions created by these people slow down the speed at which decisions over the measures to take control of climate change happen. The question is then, why do they do it? Well, like with the tobacco industry, they usually have a vested interest in the topic, either political or business related. The problems of agnotology are exacerbated by the use of the internet. With the advent of Web 2.0, which means web content is no longer static, suddenly everyone can become an expert. Comments, advice, points of view, opinions, they are all shared rapidly and frequently on the internet, and much of the time they are just plain wrong. In fact, new web pages spring up with the sole purpose of highlighting the stupid things that some people say, whether that be silly answers to serious questions, ill-informed opinions about topics, or more serious hatred based on race, gender, or sexuality. As Taylor Swift sang, "The hater's gonna hate, 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 hate." She didn't sing that the internet makes all this much easier, but I'm sure she thought it. The problem is that when there's enough hate, it starts to become real and accepted, and that is clearly not a good thing. So to recap, agnotology is the study of ignorance and creating confusion around a topic. It started in the mid-1980s as a result of the tobacco industry's efforts to confuse the issue of whether smoking is really as bad for you as people think, and continues this day in not only the business and political world, but also in more everyday matters. So be careful about what you read and what you believe. Thank you.